Hi, my name is Ashley Goodrich, and my research project is on the history of national park libraries and how they are used. National parks have been around for 148 years. In 1872, on March 1st, President Ulysses S. Grant signed the Yellowstone National Park Protection Act into law. Not only was Yellowstone the first national park in the United States, but it was also the first national park in the world. It is a National Park Service policy to collect, protect, preserve, provide access to, and use objects, specimens, and archival and manuscript collections to aid understanding and advance knowledge. This policy is what backed the creation of National Park Research Libraries. Since then, the National Park Service has acquired more than 400 national park sites. Here's an image of the Yellowstone National Park's Research Library. To complete my research project, I chose two national parks. I chose the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and Grand Canyon National Park. But since Yellowstone National Park was the first national park in the world, I wanted to include a little bit of information about it and a picture of the research center. Here's a picture of the Yellowstone National Park Research Library. The questions that I chose for my research project are: why is it important that we have national park libraries? What purpose do the libraries serve? What resources can be found in a national park library? Where can national park information be found besides the research library? And what programs do national park libraries provide for visitors? In 1983, Wallace Stegner said, "National parks are the best idea we ever had. Absolutely American, absolutely democratic. They reflect us at our best rather than at our worst." Below is a picture of Clingman's Dome, which is the top point in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Here we have the Great Smoky Mountains National Park Collections Preservation Center, located in Townsend, Tennessee. This is about 4 miles away or 4 minutes away from the Great Smoky Mountains entrance. The library is used as a research library and not for public. The Collection Preservation Center holds 1.3 million archival records. Their collection on paper items starts all the way back in 1780 and runs until 2016. It includes land grants from the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. The collection also includes pieces from 4 other East Tennessee parks, including Andrew Johnson's National Historic Park, Big South Fork National Recreation Area, Cumberland Gap National Historic Park, and Obed Wild and Scenic River. The Research Library is the recipient of the Carnegie Whitney Grant. Why is this research library so important? The Research Library Collections Preservation Center archives important history of the national park and how the national park was developed. It maintains records and artifacts of the people that called the national park area their home. Maps of the land with plans of trails in the park, photographs of people who lived in the area, and information about the people that built the trails are all part of the library's archives. Genealogy information is available if your family lived in the national park. The history of the park needs to be preserved for generations to come so that the future generations can remember how important the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is and the people that helped make this park possible. All of the resources that have been collected for over 235 years educate people about the development of the national park, and in turn, hopefully will encourage visitors to respect our national treasures and take care of them for many more years to come. Here are some photographs that are found in the archives of the Collections Preservation Center Library. These pictures are of the men that worked in the Civilian Conservation Corps. They are the men who built anything from trails to bridges. They took down trees and carved through rock so that people would be able to come to to the park and enjoy themselves in its beauty. The National Park Collections Preservation Center and Research Library holds all of the archives for the Smoky Mountains. They also hold cultural-related museum collections for the national park. The center is a research library. Researchers, scientists, and park employees can make an appointment with the facility to come in and do research about the park. Some of the resources that are found in the National Park Library are archives about the history of the park, information about the people who lived in the park area, genealogy information, historical photographs of the park, maps, furniture, textiles, archaeological artifacts. The Preservation Center is not just a research library, but also a museum because of all of these artifacts. More information about this national park can be found on the database of the Smokies, DOTS. This website can be accessed by anyone through the University of Tennessee's library website, Western Carolina University Hunter Library, the Open Parks Network maintained by Clemson University, and the National Park Service all have digital Great Smoky Mountain National Park collections online. Information about the park can also be accessed through the Library of Congress, and there's a link below here that will go to the National Park Service website. You can copy and paste this into a browser and go to the website and look it up there. The library offers a tour of its facilities. This event is set to take place on Friday, May 17th. The Great Smoky Mountains Association is hosting a tour of this facility for people who have purchased tickets in advance and are a Great Smoky Mountain Association member. Tickets are sold out for this event. While looking for extra programs that are offered by the research library, I found that some of the visitors were upset because the general public are not allowed to view the items that are preserved in the archives, which goes against the policy of the National Park Service, since their goal is to collect and obtain artifacts to educate people in understanding the national park and aid in their knowledge of the park. The park also offers a Junior Ranger program, which uses information from the library to teach kids about the park. Park statistics are available through the National Park Service website as well. Great Smoky Mountain National Park Research Library and Collection Center preserves the Southern Appalachian history. These mountains have been home to a lot of people. The Park Preservation Center works very hard at protecting their artifacts. Below are hinges that were stolen from a historic site in the park. It is a crime to take anything from a national park. Now the hinges are artifacts and evidence. Don McDade, a previous curator of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, is organizing some archives in the picture that is located to the right. Here are some more artifacts that are found in the research library. They have anything from furniture to documents, books about the Smokies. All kinds of different artifacts can be found here. Michael Aday is a librarian and archivist for the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. Aday works alone most of the time in the library. The only other person that is staffed at this library is the curator, Baird Todd. Staff is normally small at national park libraries because they do not have funding for most employees. Aday has created a blog about his lone ventures called Going Solo at the Great Smoky Mountains. Known as mountain people, here are some photographs of families that lived in the national park before it became a national park. These families were forced to relocate. Since these people were made to leave the park area, the park takes great care in protecting the artifacts, landscapes, and buildings. Anything that they were not able to move was left behind and is located in the archives now. The most historical areas of the park are Cades Cove and Cataloochee. The library holds a lot of research and artifacts about these areas. In fact, one of the restrooms that visitors use was an historical building built in 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps. Here are some of the interesting photos that were taken shortly after the national park opened. The picture of the man in the car is of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He is riding to Newfound Gap to dedicate the park in 1940. There are also some interesting photos of the black bears that call the national park their home. These cubs are not afraid to walk up to people, and still to this day, cubs can wander up very close to people on foot and in their car. It is illegal, though, for visitors to get within 50 feet of the black bear for the visitors' safety and for the animals' safety. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park has several issues and research questions that it needs help answering. Scientists helping with this research and these issues can be using the Research Library, which offers a plethora of resources to help with this. Scientists can obtain a permit and conduct scientific research in the park. The park has seen some different issues with beetles and bugs attacking their trees, the eastern hemlock tree and the ash tree, which killed off a lot of the forestry. I have personally seen the devastation, and it is heartbreaking. Hopefully, the National Park Research Library will be able to provide resources for scientists to use and take care of this beetle problem once and for all. Now let's move on to the Grand Canyon National Park Library. President Theodore Roosevelt said, "In the Grand Canyon, Arizona has a natural wonder which, so far as I know, is in kind absolutely unparalleled throughout the rest of the world." The Grand Canyon Library is different from the Great Smoky Mountain Library. They are both research libraries, but the library at Grand Canyon National Park is user-friendly, meaning everyone is welcome to come in and use the library. This library is important because it helps promote education of the Grand Canyon and National Park services. The library promotes understanding and appreciation of the park to help educate its visitors. The park library is a research library. National Park Service employees, interns, volunteers in the park, Albright Training Center staff and students, Grand Canyon semester students, Grand Canyon Unified School District faculty and students, and Grand Canyon Association members are all allowed checkout privileges. All other park visitors can use the library's materials while visiting the park, or they can check out material through an interlibrary loan. Volunteers help staff and patrons. They also work with collections and preservation, reference, and library support areas. This is not a solo librarian situation. The main research library holds more than 12,000 books on the Grand Canyon. It also has periodicals, reports, pamphlets, and many other items about the national park. The library carries materials that relate to the Grand Canyon. They offer DVDs, CDs, and videos. They have over 500 DVDs and videos about the park. There is Wi-Fi available in the courtyard around the library, and they have 2 computers with Wi-Fi for public use as well. Some other interesting resources that can be found in the public library are a children's collection, microfiche collection, rare book collection that contains early works about the park. This collection is viewed by appointment only. Arizona State University has a collection of over 50 reference books on the Grand Canyon. Online catalog that holds records for all National Park Service libraries can also be visited for more information about the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon Conservancy also offers award-winning books about the Grand Canyon. These books are for children and adults. New books are published yearly about the Grand Canyon related topics. The National Park Service Library Research Information Service website also provides resources about the Grand Canyon. The library provides interlibrary loans, meaning that the library cooperates with other libraries so that their materials can be provided to patrons. They can request and provide materials on a worldwide basis. Tours of the library can also be made available by appointment for individuals or groups that wish to learn about the library's services that they provide.